The short answer, anyone can be on a VA home loan. What changes is the dynamic of the loan and how the benefit works. For example, you can have 4 veterans and 4 non-veterans buy a home together and use the VA home loan. Not only that, they can also purchase an 8-unit building plus a commercial space with the VA home loan. And on top of all of that, the non-veteran co-borrowers don't have to occupy the property. So we're going to cover a lot of things. I actually learned some stuff today as well by calling the VA. They are actually a great resource from the regional loan centers about using your VA home loan. So please, guys, hit the like and subscribe button as well to get more content like this. So let's go into the long answer of all of this. The first thing I'm going to go over is the regular VA loan, because that's pretty much it's the easiest one. If you have a single veteran, they use the VA home loan with 100% financing and all the benefits we always talk about. Also, if a veteran is married and their spouse is going to be on the loan, then they are also going to be able to use all the same benefits and qualification standards as the veteran, right? It is extremely straightforward, and lenders are the ones that make the entire decision for the most part on actually issuing that loan. So when it comes to using, let's say, there's a couple different scenarios, but the next type of loan is what's called a joint loan. Okay, that's what the VA basically is designated. It's where a veteran and one other veteran or veteran and a non-veteran, no matter how many of them there are, a non-spouse can use the VA home loan. You have a veteran and one or more veterans, non-spouse, it's kind of like the caveat to this whole thing, that will be using their entitlement. You have veteran and a veteran spouse who's also a veteran, but you need to split your entitlement to qualify. It will also be a joint loan. Unless it's a veteran and you're not using the spouse's entitlement, then you can use the VA loan as a regular VA home loan. And then you also have a veteran and one or other veterans, non-spouse, who will be also using their entitlement to that. So there's a couple of different scenarios here. So let me break it down a little bit easier. You have a veteran, non-veteran, so non-spouse, and also could be a veteran but not using their VA home loan. And then you have a veteran, and then you have a combination of those two where you have 3 veterans, 3 non-veterans all going in to purchase a property. There's a lot of caveats to that. And for the purposes of a pre-approval, if a veteran and a fiance who intend to marry prior to the loan closing and take title as veteran and spouse will be treated as a regular loan. You just have to at least get married a week beforehand and just let the loan officer know that, hey, we're going to be getting married. We want to proceed with the application as is. Just know if you're updating names and stuff like that, that can delay the process and it can get a little bit complicated. So let's go through some of the details with this combination of stuff, because there's definitely a lot of information you need to understand, you need to be able to process, and you guys can always reach out to us in the link in the description and schedule a meeting with us if this is something that you're interested in. We really don't see a lot of veterans utilizing this, and that might be because there's not enough information on there. Or it can be that it can be a complex process, which I'm going to explain why all of those things happen. And we're going to start off with that. Lenders do the initial approval on the application for approving it. Okay, they look at everything and they say, yep, this meets the requirements per the VA handbook. But then it actually goes to the VA for them to give their blessing on doing that loan. So you can go through the entire process, get everything approved, and then all of a sudden the VA comes back and says no. Now there's definitely ways, you can definitely submit a waiver to the VA to say, yes, we want to proceed with this. We've seen them do a lot of exceptions to that. So don't discourage yourself from doing something that you want to do. Just get educated on it. The entitlement and funding fees are always calculated by the number of people on the loan, and it's based on each veteran's paying, or each veteran paying their equal share of the loan. Now, if you have VA disability and you don't pay a funding fee, then you won't pay a funding fee for that. Now, just be wary again. Because most lenders don't want to touch these because they do get really complicated. But again, it's just like an Excel sheet, some math, and you can do it. Again, all this stuff is in the VA handbook. In a veteran and non-veteran situation, the veteran will pay a funding fee based on half of the base loan amount, the down payment, and the sales price. The non-veteran will pay a 12.5% down payment, as the VA guarantees 25% of the loan, so the non-veteran needs to cover the other half of the guarantee, which is 12.5%. That's where that number comes from, because people are always like, well, why does the VA charge the 12.5% on that? And that is the reason why. Another thing is that all military members using their entitlement, meaning they're using their VA home loan, are going to be required to occupy the property as a primary residence. So the entire situation has to make sense for them, right? Does everybody work in the area, or are they all remote workers? Why are they splitting the benefits? There's going to be a lot of questions that you need to ask yourself when you're going into this. The other piece is there's no minimum requirement as far as time to stay in that property. So you go with 4 people, purchase a property, you all split your benefits, then you don't have a certain time limit you need to live in it. You just need to occupy that property as your primary residence. That's what you intend to do. And if you want to move 2 months later, you can do that. Just note, when you do something like that, when you go into other people, your benefits are going to be tied into that property until that property is either sold or moved into a different form of ownership after it's been paid off. Because that's kind of like, think of it in a way like co-signing. We're not really big fans of it. Yes, sometimes it makes sense. Like you're going in with like another family member that's a veteran. Then, okay, I can see that. But just know that sometimes these things backfire, and we've just seen it happen more often than not. The other question that we always get is that, can I have my parents or family member co-sign for me on purchasing a loan? I learned this today by calling the VA and asking them about this, because normally what we've heard is that, and from like lenders, investors that say that, well, the non-veteran needs to also occupy the property. But per today, talking to the VA, is that you can have a family member co-sign using the VA loan, and they don't have to occupy the property, which is mind-blowing, because it definitely opens up the opportunity for a lot more veterans to be able to purchase. But again, the caveat is the non-veteran has to put a 12.5% down payment, which is pretty cool. So now let's go back to a little bit from when I opened up, like talking about how many units somebody can occupy. And again, this is straight out of the handbook. It's not me making up. If a property is owned by 2 or more eligible veterans using the VA home loan, it may consist of a 4-unit plus a business unit plus an additional unit for each veteran participating in the home ownership. That's how I got to that 8 number. Again, it's pretty crazy. So let's talk a little bit about the underwriting process. Things get a little bit tricky here. And again, there's a lot of exceptions to all this. Is that the veteran's credit and income must be sufficient to repay the loan. Not only that, it must be able to repay the loan allocated to the non-veteran. And you're thinking to yourself, well, why would you use the VA home loan in that case? Again, this is why it gets a little bit tricky, and everyone's situation is going to be unique. We've seen the VA do a ton of exceptions to this, especially if the situation makes sense. So again, don't disqualify yourself. Don't get discouraged. We encourage you just to reach out to us, and we will be able to walk you through that. Because not only like they say that, the next thing that they say is that you can combine income, and both borrowers can be considered for repayment of the ability to repay. So again, it's like information can be contradicting right after having one statement to another. There's so many exceptions to that. So please feel free to reach out to us. We're always happy to help. Please hit the like and subscribe button to catch more content like this, and drop in the comment section if you're interested in learning about other things around the VA home loan. Happy to do a video around it. I'll catch you guys soon.